technology taking the front seat in automotive industry and accelerated e-mobility revolution. This is a very pertinent topic these days, especially with the automotive industry. And for this chat, we have with me Mr. Bhuvan Lodha, Chief Digital Officer, Automotive Sector, Mahindra Group. Welcome, sir. And Mr. Yoginder Verma, Chief Technology Officer, Carzunent Group, Plug Mobility and Miles. Welcome, Mr. Verma. Thank you so much, sir, for both of you for giving us your valuable time for this discussion and not taking much of your time with the introduction and everything. My first question is to Mr. Yogendra Verma. Mr. Verma, do you think technological revolution is making the automotive industry smarter than ever before? What is the way forward for the industry?
Absolutely, Taranam. The vehicles are getting smarter day by day. The mobility solutions are getting smarter day by day, and all because of technology. So this technological revolution in the automotive and mobility sector started way back around 2 decades ago with the advent of radio technology. I mean, the radio cabs that you might have used, I believe, and of course, Carson was one of the early service providers in that domain, and that then this domain was dominated by ride hailing, and it was that time when actually technology took the center stage, so much so that these ride hailing companies, they were calling themselves as technology companies, not even say transportation or mobility companies. And then recently what the phenomena the world faced, a pandemic, that accelerated this pace of technology evolution in all the industries, and even more in of course mobility, because mobility was the most constrained industry because of pandemic. And as they say, uh, every adversity comes with an opportunity. So I guess the industry actually used that to innovate and to come up with newer solutions and all. Another dimension that was growing up was the sustainability. So there were talks of sustainable travel, and recently it has taken the seat in the front, and it's all about EVs and all. And again, that's backed up because of technology, the IoT technologies, the latest development in the battery technology, which is the core of bringing or making EV revolution feasible. And maybe the last dimension of this revolution could be the most futuristic technology that you might have heard of: connected vehicles. Vehicles talking to each other, the machine to machine communication, or maybe autonomous vehicle. So if you try to sum them up all, and kind of plot the way forward as you mentioned, then I would say that maybe in the near term, the sustainability is going to be of prime focus, and you would see more and more EVs coming up, and that too with inbuilt features on safety, hygiene, sanitization that we learned from COVID. So that will be one thing. And then another thing that definitely is going to be there is that technology is kind of redefining the consumption pattern also. So you would see that it's becoming more and more on demand and personalized, and that's true for every industry, and again very much for the mobility sector. So you would see newer models of, for example, vehicle ownership coming up. So you would see vehicle subscriptions, you would see pay as you ride, self ride models. And again, this is going to be made feasible by technology only, of course. And lastly, for the most futuristic dimensions, as I said, the autonomous and connected, I guess the development will keep happening, and I guess a period of say around 6 to 8 years, you would start seeing the manifestation of these technologies on the road. So you would see that maybe not in big numbers, but at least some autonomous cars or vehicles flying, and things like that. So that's how the way it's going to be: more smarter vehicles. So I would say that the way forward for the industry is going to be shared, autonomous, connected, and definitely most importantly sustainable. So that's how it should be.
That's interesting to know that the way forward should be sustainable, because sustainability is the buzzword which is very important these days. In fact, if you look at the automotive industry, sustainable, I think, is the key word right now. My next question is, in fact, to both our speakers, both our panelists. And first, I would ask Mr. Bhuvan Lodha about it. The industry is adopting new technologies in its operations at an unprecedented scale. In addition to technologies such as artificial intelligence and big data and analytics, newer technologies such as Internet of Things and blockchain also find numerous applications in automotive industries. Can you just give some insights on this?
So, look, Tarannum, in a way, vehicle itself is becoming commodity. The, the vehicle is not the only thing that sells anymore. In the automotive industry, it is more and more getting important to get the overall experience of discovering, owning, and using a vehicle to a level where customers see you as someone with an object of desire. Uh, and hence, emerging technologies like AI and IoT and machine learning, etc., have started to emerge as key differentiators when it comes to bringing newer experiences to our customers. Operationally, also, if you have to build a vehicle, there are a lot of complex processes that have to happen in the back end in order to bring a vehicle to life, all the way from its design to R&D to production and then to mass manufacturing. A lot of emerging technologies are making it uh, viable to do it in much faster way. At the same time, making it more efficient and smart to manufacture vehicles. I'll give you a few examples of how we at Mahindra are trying to use new emerging technologies and creating an edge with it. The way we paint our cars, for example, is now using machine learning algorithms. Traditionally, you would have robots. Of course, I mean, way back you would have people painting the cars with a spray gun. In the recent past, robots are doing it automatically. And now what is happening is those robots are being guided by algorithms, which can change, for example, things that are controllable inside a paint booth. Let's say temperature, right? If a certain small dip in temperature outside can cause a paint defect to occur, the algorithm by itself can go and trigger a percentage point down in chiller unit so that the temperature is maintained at a point where the probability of a defect occurring in a paint job is minimized, right? That is creating significant amount of reduction in the overall cost of poor quality, rework rates, and increasing our time to or decreasing our time to market when it comes to bringing new cars to the dealerships. Similarly, testing. For example, we test our engines and we run various types of tests which are required for compliance purposes, which are required for various specifications, adherence, etc. A lot of those are now being done in a simulated digital twin world, right? So once you have done a test, the subsequent tests need not be performed physically by firing up an engine, and they can be simulated in a digital twin environment. So a lot of efficiency and a lot of bottom line improvement is being resulted by using these emerging technologies. At the same time, when it comes to customer experience, we are seeing usage of um technologies like AI in understanding customer needs, in showing the customer what he or she is looking for when they interact with your brand. If, for example, you take a test drive of Thar at one of our dealerships, come back to Mahindra's website and identify yourself as Tarannum, the first thing that you will see is not going to be an XUV or a Bolero. You will see a Thar. And that simple experience of seeing something that you are interested in is enabled by technologies that are fully connected all the way from your experience at the dealership to your browsing behavior to the pattern of what we see in users which are similar to you, right? And help in delivering an experience where you are getting closer to the brand. So I think these technologies are going to create differentiation for us in the market. And as automobile industry, I think the adoption of these technologies is becoming more and more in recent times.
That was
happy.
interesting. And yes, I would put the same question to Yugender as well. That Yugender ji, what do you think that is like? We need your insights also on the same that the industry is adopting new technologies in its operations. So how do you look at it, and what is your idea of the whole adoption of new technologies?
Absolutely, absolutely, Karan. So, as Bhuvan rightly said, for example, using RPA, the robotic process automation in manufacturing, and or maybe using AI to create a fluid user experience. So even so let me give a perspective of mobility solutions. As a service provider, and trust me, the names that you've just said. So I guess barring blockchain, which we yet to deploy in our applications. Otherwise, AI, ML, edge computing, IoT, data analytics, you name any technology, and we are actually using it. And let me give you, some very interesting real life examples. So, for example, in our segment, B2B, car rental, uh, quality is of utmost importance. It's not like ride hailing where it's just by chance that you would expect that the quality of the chauffeur and the car is good. So we have to ensure it each and every time. Now, particularly in last few couple of years during the COVID times, where the physical movements were restricted, the where physical presence was restricted, to ensure quality using technology was our objective. And then we created workflows using AI machine learning. So the driver would just take some pictures of the car, and using visual image analysis, the system would analyze that the car quality and the chauffeur quality is up to the mark. So that's how we use it. Another interesting, one of the partners came to us. They wanted to offer this ability to the airborne passengers, the passenger in flight, that they should be able to make the booking when they land up. So it should not be that when you land up, you're just like kind of trying to make that booking. And so they were using edge computing, what is it is called in our technology jargon. So we we explored that workflows with them. Similarly, we have been using again machine learning to for example, in our case, when we provide billing and invoicing to our customers, we have to ensure that the hard copies, the toll and parking receipts, they are genuine. So again, to do that, we are deploying machine learning algorithms to assure our customers that the receipts are not tempered with. And again, using for example data analytics for our demand and supply planning. So the idea is that these are not just buzzwords. We are actually using them to solve real world problems, which would not be possible had it not been these technologies there. So I am a big fan of the latest technologies, and we use them to the utmost possible to build again, as Bhuvan said, the kind of state of the art experience for our customers.
That's quite interesting. In fact, the point you, in fact, mentioned about ensuring that people can actually book cars while they're in the flight. It's very very interesting because, of course, yes, the moment you get down from the flight, you need a car at your disposal, and that's a very good use of technology. My question now is to Bhuvan. In fact, Ms. Bhuvan, what do you think? Like, uh, electric mobility is actually grabbing attention globally. How is it transforming the automotive industry? Especially if you can give me some example on that.
Tarannum, I had told, sorry to cut you, because this is a recording. I had told Rehan I will not be commenting on electric technology in this meeting.
Okay. Okay.
So if you can ask me the question number 1 or 5, I think I asked him to pick 1 or 5.
Okay. I'll
Mhm.
take the question number five then. I'll take question number five then. Uh, we cut
Sorry
this
about
and no, perfectly fine. So coming back to that, yeah. Okay. Now my question now is to Mr. Bhuvan. Mr. Bhuvan, how has technology played a key role in the evolution of the automotive industry? If you can just give me some examples on this.
Sure. So look, from an auto manufacturer's perspective, technology has been always important. And if you look at the two big aspects of how technology is used by an automotive customer, there is tech inside the car and there is tech outside the car. Right? So in inside the car, there are technologies that Yogender was mentioning a few minutes back about connected vehicles, smart vehicles, vehicles talking to each other, and so on. There's also in the last few years we have seen significant jump in the capabilities of the vehicle itself, uh, in terms of what it can do. Right. For example, now you can talk to Alexa and book your XUV 700 service while you're driving it. Right. These are technologies that are making the car smarter and are taking the experience of the usage to the next level. Coming to outside the car, the whole journey of a customer, all the way from when the customer is trying to discover a vehicle of choice to the point where a customer is trying to, you know, book a service station for a repair or so on. I think the entire journey of the customer has been transformed using technology. Not that it was not happening earlier. It was, of course, happening earlier using word of mouth, physical hoardings, actual visits to a dealership, test drives, and then again physical phone calls, etc. All of that has now transcended, thanks to COVID in the last 2 years, on an app in your phone, right, or your browser in the phone. So you're able to discover what car you are interested in. You're able to figure out what offers exist on that particular model. You can also figure out what is that car capable of without even seeing the car. Right? There are AR and VR techniques that we've used for you to actually experience the car in all its glory, change the color, sit inside, look around, and see whether you like or not. Then when it comes to booking, for example, right, you technology is now enabled people to sit in their home and book a vehicle and know when it can be delivered. All the paperwork can be done digitally, right? You can you can track whether your XUV 700 is still in production, on its way, or arrived at dealership and ready for delivery, right? All of that can be done at home. Once you receive a vehicle, you can also, like I was saying earlier, interact with the vehicle and book a service at a nearest dealership while you're driving it. These are technologies that did not exist earlier, but have become mainstream now. Right? And hence, I think technology is going to become a cornerstone of success for auto players. And overall, the industry will ensure that the technology that is used both inside and outside the car uh, moves as the customer behavior moves to become more digital native. I think it is only a matter of time before we see more e-commerce like experience while you're buying a car, and more connected experience while you're using the car.
That's I really like that term of e-commerce experience of buying a car, because yes, we are all looking forward to a day where we can just buy cars on our mobile. That will be very interesting to see that. In fact, my question now is in fact to Yoginder, and Yoginder ji, if you can just now that we're talking about electric vehicles and EV, we realize that they are very critical for a sustainable future. So, what are the key focus areas to accelerate e-mobility growth?
So, Taran, you can ask the question that you missed from Bhuvan to me, I guess.
It's actually a similar question. It's actually a similar question.
Okay, sure. So, maybe you'll have to come up with a question and answer.
Yeah.
You can just,
Okay. No problem. No worries. That will be edited. The good part about recording. Okay. So
yeah.
my question to you, Yogendra ji, now is that electric vehicles, we all understand, are critical for a sustainable future. What are the key focus areas which you feel can accelerate the e-mobility growth?
So, of course, EV revolution is happening, and it has to happen for the right reasons. Climate change and sustainability. These are real problems that the world need to solve. So, to make this happen, I guess we need a multi-pronged effort from a lot of players, like whether it's the OEMs, whether it's the service providers, the industry, the government. I guess all will have to put efforts in the same direction. For example, if we talk about some of the government efforts, then they can help us with more favorable policies, incentives. For example, the initial capital expenditure that can be, like, countered with because EVs tend to be a bit in the beginning, they tend to be a bit expensive in comparison to say a normal ICE car. So maybe higher subsidies could be there. Similarly, exemptions on tax and permits could be there. Then the government can help maybe to save the domestic manufacturers. The protection could be there in many ways. Then definitely a push can be towards the financial institutions, because the financing as of now, the financing for EVs is being done on the same model which is like used for ICE, but maybe better models can be crafted for EV segment. Then another area and very important area is the public charging infrastructure. That's something which is the key ingredient which is required to make EV a reality, to make the EV feasible, for a normal consumer. So there again, maybe I guess the industry and the government will have to make collaborated effort to bring up more, to install more charging stations, to bring up maybe charging capabilities at the petrol pumps and all. Similarly, so if we look at the OEM side, there again, there could be a lot of efforts which can be there. For example, the battery technology. Battery technology is the key factor on which this whole EV revolution is dependent. And then there are a lot of concerns even till date, for the range of the battery. In one charge, how long you can go, and or maybe the time taken for the recharge, or with the safety of the battery. So there, the OEMs can then come up with better technology and shorter recharging durations, longer ranges, and that is going to make it very much feasible. Then I guess there is another people like us, the service providers. For example, Carson, we are already have doing our bit. So we have started Plug is our EV initiative, and we are kind of taken up this job of transitioning into an EV fleet. So people like, you see, this shared mobility is very much so it is more suited for a transition into EV in comparison to say the personal vehicle usage. So that way is it can be done. So likewise, an effort is required from all the players to make it happen, to actually accelerate the EV revolution, as you called it.
That was interesting to know about the EV specifically, because EV, as we all understand, is the word for the future. And that was very kind of both of you, in fact, to share such information and such important insights on the automotive industry. I think with both of you, we've been able to cover a lot many things that technology has been doing with the automotive industry, and of course, we got to know a few examples also how technology is actually transforming the industry in a very big manner. Thank you so much, Yogendraji, and thank you so much, Bhuvanji, for giving us your valuable time. I will, in fact, now ask my backend team, Raman, if you can just, display the award certificates here. Yeah, that's a certificate of appreciation for being a participant in this fireside chat to Mr. Bhuvan Lodha, and another certificate for Yogendra Verma. Thank you so much, both of you, for being a part of this.